Drogba indirdi ceza Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol! Muslera! Fernando Muslera! Golün adı Muslera! Zaniolo, Drogba! This is incredible!
Merhaba, hello, and welcome to episode 50 of The Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast done by the community, for the community. 50 episodes, wow, what a number. I can finally say, soon! Thank you, all of you, from around the world for tuning in and supporting us till now. We love you guys, thank you so much. Today has been a glorious day. It's Sunday as of the recording. I hope you guys enjoyed your day as much as I did. And me and the lads are here today to discuss a lot of things. But before we get into that, Yasin, you enjoying yourself as much as I am, brother?
How can I not, man? I mean, 50 episodes, that's crazy. I feel like we just started recently. It's been over a year, 50 episodes deep. So that means 50 games that we've watched together. We've spoken about together. We've spoken with fans along the process with Summit and all. So it's been a crazy ride, and we're still going through this, and we appreciate the comments from you guys all the time. That's keeping us motivated. But I'm doing good, man. As you said, today's Sunday. We have a little bit of fun topic to talk about that's maybe not directly Galatasaray related, but we'll get into that. I'm doing good though.
Good to hear. And Saleh, Arsenal won, Galatasaray won, and our closest rivals lost. You're having probably one of the greatest weekends in your name, right?
Having a blast of a weekend as well. Thank you for mentioning that once again. Brings joy to my ears to hear that. But yeah.
Real recognize real.
It does. I'm doing good. Also, for our fellow Muslim listeners, Ramazan Ayah has started as well. And for me, that means being also a bit more spiritual, but also, losing some weight as I've been becoming a fat ass a bit. But besides that, doing good. Glad to be back. It's been, again, 2 weeks almost, unfortunately, due to international break. And it's good to come back to these winning ways.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that we can't, see our beloved team play for more than 2 weeks straight as of late. But that is changing very soon. And like Saleh said, it's a Ramazan. Hopefully, all you guys are having a great Ramazan. And the rest of the lads couldn't make it today, unfortunately. But there is plenty to talk about. Plenty. What do you guys want to start talking about? Do we want to talk about, things that aren't directly related to us or related to us first?
I think we start with what's fresh, what's most fresh. We usually start with recent news, and I think the most recent news as of this recording, which is Sunday evening for us now, is this Beşiktaş-Fenerbahçe derby. And the absolute...
All right, let's talk about that.
Yeah, the absolute embarrassment from our rival. Emre, I'd like you to kind of get started with this one, because I'm sure, we all had a blast, but I feel like you had an even bigger blast watching this game happen.
I'm still smiling. It's been 4 hours. No, it's been, 2 hours since the game ended. And I don't know. I'm really, really happy to see, God's judgment passed down onto those who think that they are divine, source of, they think there's some shit. Really, that's what it all comes down to. So apparently, we don't play anything, but our rivals, being Fenerbahce, plays godlike football, and we're constantly telling everyone that they will be champions. But from what I saw today, they were an absolute disaster, made a mockery of themselves. Whoo, man! I swear, if this was here in Ali Samian, Fener Alama would be on for 24 hours straight. So they do. Oh man, how can you be a team that gets 2 penalties, not 1, but 2 penalties and a red card, and still lose 4-2 to 10 men?
At home.
You got Lale Orta as your 12th man. No, not even no. They weren't even down on one man, bitch. They were down two because they had VAR on their side. It's a shame. This is what you get, boys. What do you guys got to say? Oh, if I could keep going on with the VAR, but
I guess
keep going.
I guess again in the Ramadan spirits, you know, Fener being playing this devilish football. The gates have been closed to hell today, so God has risen, shown us some justice, and yeah, just like you mentioned, Beşiktaş got down to 10 men, and somehow they were able to net 4 against Fenerbahçe, which also at the end, I mean, you guys probably heard it on TV too. The fans started yelling "Yönetim istifa," etc. You know, the usual stuff that we get at our
Ali Koç bizi bırakma, please stay with us.
the usual implosion that we get at the end of the year, and yeah, long may it last.
Yeah, and you know, there's so many funny things that happened this game, and it's just like, which one do you want to talk about or laugh at first? It was 1-0 down. They could have made it 2-0 with Valencia, with another penalty, of course.
Palencia, you mean?
Palencia playing on penalty budget. You know, it's they suit one another. And of course, their first goal was received maybe not from Palencia, but instead Arda, who I credit, very skilled footballer, very good. I've been talking about him for a long time. I'm a fan. But today he showed that, you know, he does play on Fenerbahce. He dived, got a crazy penalty, which you can look at it from whatever angle you want, whether that's a video taken from the stands or one of the videos that Lale Orta and beIN Sports wants to or doesn't want to show on TV. Any single one of them will show you the same thing. And it was a clear as dive. I think he needs to study Valencia a little bit closer to learn how to dive a little bit better than he did today. But, you know, he still got the penalty.
Bro, you know how many angles I saw of that dive? I swear to God, the only angle I haven't seen yet is from probably space.
Yeah.
I've seen every single angle, and he completely dived. He was not even touched.
Yeah, I'm sure Lale Orta and Fenerbahce put that video into a chat, one of those, what's it called? AI video.
ChatGPT
and tried to make it seem like an actual penalty, but I guess they weren't so successful. But
And the crazy thing about it too is, again, no VAR. Like they didn't call the ref, which was Halil Umut Meler in this case, to even check if it was a pen or not. They just, I guess, communicated to him like it's a straight pen, while we all could see that he dived.
Yeah, they clearly took that responsibility off the ref, and we were talking about briefly before we started the pod, but you almost can't blame the ref for giving the penalty, because I can't speak for everybody, but for me, watching that live, it really did look like a penalty. It was a very terribly timed challenge by the Beşiktaş defender, Onur Bulut.
Yeah.
And it was just stupid. It looked like a penalty. I was like, okay, you know, there goes Fenerbahçe again getting another penalty. And then after watching the replays, I was like, God damn, this is actually a dive. And here I am waiting for VAR to call the ref over, and he actually did listen. So they had some sort of a discussion. VAR really did take some time to process what happened. And it's ludicrous that after all that time, they still decided that it was a penalty, and they didn't leave it to the ref to make the final decision. I mean, calling a ref to the VAR doesn't mean that the call has to be overturned.
Exactly.
It usually means, okay, we think that there's reason to overturn, but we're going to let you be the decision maker. So they definitely did the ref a service here. They helped him out, saying, we'll put the blame on us. But then what? What happens after that? You know, it's kind of a cheap method of keeping the referee free of mistakes. Meanwhile, it's really TFF and VAR organization that should be put under the spotlight, which our club did again after the game. They called out the ref, they called out Lale and said, you know, istifa, like, you guys need to move on. We'll talk about a little bit more about that, you know, during our game discussion as well. But
keep talking about Fener.
Yeah,
and how they lost.
Listen, I found this so funny. Towards the end, Beşiktaş, with one man down, they scored the fourth goal in extra time, I believe it was, or right before extra time. And I actually didn't hear it myself, but I saw Fenerbahçe comments saying this. Keep me honest here. But apparently Fenerbahçe fans were applauding Beşiktaş after the fourth goal.
They were.
That's hilarious. Okay, so it's 4-1. And then in extra time, Irfan Can Kahveci scores to make it 4-2.
And they booed him.
And they start booing him. You know, I give a lot of shit to Fenerbahce fans because, you know, not all of them, but, you know, the ones from my experience, they make a fool of themselves. But, you know, their reaction there was kind of applause-worthy from my side of things, at least maybe because I was enjoying myself too much. But that was funny. Like you said, Emre, I think they were saying Yönetim istifa at the end. And if you guys didn't catch it, they start cursing and saying istifa. And then beIN Sports mutes them so that us television viewers don't hear it and see it. And then they put like this, like they put like a random typical like applause, like you know, fan noise instead. Like that's what they did. And they have a history of doing this in the past as well. But it was really evident in that moment. So, you know, beIN Sports is trying to help out their buddy Ali Koç here, but I don't know who can really help him out of this situation.
Yeah.
I don't know who can save him at this point, but we can't let this get to our heads. Of course, we had a good laugh, and it makes it all that much better given our result from yesterday. So everybody's happy tonight.
Yeah. Yep. Congrats to everybody that won that game. To, you know, Beşiktaş, they deserved it. It was really good by them. They're probably handing us over the championship, you know, or gave us a big step
Boost.
up.
Mm-hmm.
A good boost, because mental wise, they are fried. Fenerbahce, like losing against 10 men, bro. 10 men and missing a penalty.
You can see they went, like Yasin just mentioned, right? The applauding. You can see that they're going basically mentally insane. Like, yet another year where we're basically balling it and finishing second to one rival, be it Beşiktaş or us. But yeah, that's
yeah. That's the way she wrote.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Beşiktaş,
before we move on,
if we want to move on,
one question I do
go
have,
ahead.
Emre, and that's specifically for you. Have you come out of the match unscathed? Because you were telling us that you were cutting some potatoes, and you almost cut yourself from laughing.
Yeah, out of... No, I got hype. I think when Redmond scored, dude, I was cutting potatoes. I was like, let's go. Because I was expecting Fenerbahce to get like a third penalty or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I was like, let's go. And he scored a freaking banger, that guy. Yeah. Bro, I don't think I'll ever see Redmond perform like that again. He put the performance of a lifetime in.
Yep.
For sure, bro. As I was saying, speaking of Beşiktaş, they were putting in a request to have everybody's points nullified. Well, the points nullified from the Gaziantep and the Hatay games. Point being is because they're saying that they wanted, they're playing 2 extra away games. So, and we have a report from Fatih Doğan saying, this is the direct quote, 7 clubs voted in favor of nullifying the results against teams that pulled out of the Super Lig, while 4 voted in favor of TFF's current decision in the Kulüpler Birliği's meeting. So, boys, you think anything will come out of this or not?
From my understanding of previous Kulüpler Birliği decisions, it's, you know, it's not a matter of majority. It's like I think everybody needs to be on the same page for them to really make a decision that changes what's already happened. I mean, at the end of the day, Kulüpler Birliği is also not just FYI. They're not the ones that's making the decision, right? They're coming together and saying, look, as Super League teams, this is what we think should happen and this is what we think shouldn't happen. They write a letter and they pitch that, or they send it to TFF, who then reads it and makes a decision if they want to listen and they want to act on that, right? So Ali Koç, being the Kulüpler Birliği president or whatever his title is, he's a head guy there. You know, he presented this. He said, these clubs said this, these clubs said that. I believe one club, Hatayspor, they just decided not to say anything at all. A couple clubs, including Başakşehir, didn't attend the meeting. Rather, they sent by email or by letter their actual opinion on it. And, you know, now we're waiting TFF's decision. But I believe if you look at Turkish Football League history, in situations like the one that we have now where certain clubs have to back out for X reasons, they applied the ruling of, okay, remaining games is a 3-0 win to the team that is still there and a 3-0 loss to the team that isn't there anymore. But will they change it? I'm not sure. If they do change their decision, I think it's going to be quite the chaotic scenes going on in the Turkish league. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I also don't. I personally don't expect it to change. Also, in this case, nullifying all the results. I mean, basically, it benefits. Like, if I recall correctly, Beşiktaş in this case, right? Because they drew their games against them.
mainly them.
Exactly. And
Drew and lost one, if I call.
And the way I see it, and it's not just because it benefits us, but I think the way it stands right now seems, to me at least, most logical. Just the games that you've played so far, you just get the points whatever you deserve, and the ones after that, everyone just gets the auto free points for it, which seems most logical to me.
Yeah, because their main counter argument is, we played these 2 away games, so we're actually playing 2 away games extra compared to, Fenerbahce and us. Meanwhile, we're going to be getting the 3 points for free in both games without playing. Okay, let's say that's the case. It is what it is. What can you do? You can't go and say, I wish this never happened. All right. I understand that it might not be completely fair, but at the end of the day, you're going to get 3 points for the games you played at home, or that you were supposed to play at home against these teams. It's not like you're not getting anything in return. They're just complaining about us or them playing 2 extra games away.
Exactly. And it's also not like
there's no
like this decision was planned or anything. No one expected
exactly,
a big
bro. They're saying that it's if they're not going to be relegated, then they shouldn't be counting. They should make this league seem as if they didn't play at all. That's what they want. That doesn't make sense at all, because then you have to go back and change everything. Like, what are you going to do about all the games that were affected after those games that we played? Like, for example, Abdülkerim was given a red card during the Gaziantep game. What are you going to do for Kayseri, who won both their away games and trying to get on a higher, standing in the league? Because that it does affect you in some way in the Turkish Cup and whatnot, and the amount of money you get. What is going to happen towards the teams that took some points from them that are on the bottom of the league trying to fight their way out of relegation? What are you going to do? You're literally screwing over tons of teams for the benefit of your own, just because you happen to have 2 away games in the first half of the league. What can you do?
Yeah, just
remember during COVID, remember when COVID first hit, I think we played most of our derbies away with no fans. Meanwhile, other teams, they had their fans, and we had to play our home games with no fans. There's a big difference. Like, what can you do? Shit happens, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you can't control every little thing. It's like the past. You can't change the past that happened today. IRL, physics doesn't allow things like that. You can't, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think there's any correct way to go about this where everybody's happy, because, depending on the draw at the time, depending on the results and everything, everybody's going to be left some sort of, or at least somebody's going to be left unhappy. But this seems to be the precedent about how we did things in the past. So I think it's only fair that we go about it that way going forward. I really hope TFF doesn't change their decision, because, that means the first decision that they made, they didn't feel 100% confident to begin with. So we'll see what happens. But I think we can move on from that one. We'll keep you guys updated if we hear anything else.
Bet your asses I will keep you updated. All right. So a little bit more news regarding Galatasaray. We're targeting a safe standing area boost to the NEF Stadium capacity. So they want to add more seats, guys. Around 8 to 10,000 seats. They got permission from UEFA, but now they're just waiting on the TFF to get permission. You guys think that this will potentially go through and sort of set up like a system where they have it at Borussia Dortmund's stadium? Like they call it the yellow wall. Will we have our own red wall? Sadi, what do you think?
So whether it will be put through or not, all I can say on this matter is that I do hope it does. Especially the idea is that the standing capacity or the spectators will be behind the goal, and these are usually the fanatics anyway. They don't I mean, as far as I know, they don't sit that much too, so it will boost the amount of spectators. I think it will just bring better atmosphere to the stadium. And the only reason why you maybe could say no to the standing spots is, well, in history, of course, stadiums did have some standing spots for the stadiums, but unfortunately, due to some incidents that happened in the past, overcrowding and people got like crushed basically on top of each other.
Trampled.
Exactly. That's why they went against the rule, I think, in UEFA, where you need to have basically seats. But I don't really see any reason.
Well, UEFA said yeah, so they're like, yeah, do you, bro. Now we're just waiting on TFF.
And then exactly. So in recent years, it has been lightened because more and more clubs are actually requesting to have these standing spots back. But I don't see any reason why we would be against this. Or, yeah, for TFF, I also don't see a reason why they would say no. Maybe if other rival clubs would, again, try to block it because they can't afford to do it or they don't want to do it. But outside of that,
they might not have the capacity.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I say see it not happening. What would your take be on this, Yasin?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to trust whether TFF will do the right thing or not, especially given how much pressure and critique that they've received from Galatasaray club recently with the whole reffing thing. But I do trust our approach in requesting this because Erden Timur and his team, they have experience in, construction, architecture, all that. This is what they do for a living. And we've noticed immediate impact from them in just a matter of less than a year, right? Whether that's the island that we have, on the Bosphorus, I believe that's where it is. Whether that's the Florida project, whether that's the new locker room that we have. They've made a lot of changes, from an architect point of view very quickly. And he has one of the best, he's one of the best in Turkey in this regard too. So I'm sure he went to TFF and UEFA with a very organized, very professional proposal, a pitch, saying this is the way that we want to do it. And this is why it's going to be safer than anything else that you can imagine. And we're going to take this very seriously. With that said, I do trust that this is going to happen. And the guy that gave the conversation, the interview on Galatasaray TV recently, he said they can do this immediately. Once TFF gives the yes, hopefully soon, this will be ready by next season. So can you imagine going from 50,000 to 60,000? That's 25% increase. No, 20% increase in our stands, and not just a 20% increase, but that's the people that sit behind the stands. Those are the ones that are the loudest. So not only increasing 20% in people, but the ones that are actually the loudest is the ones that are actually increasing. So that if we thought the stadium atmosphere was crazy before, my God, is it going to be crazy now?
We might break a new record.
With 60,000, definitely.
Yeah, man. I mean, I hope it goes through. It's not only that, the tickets will probably be cheaper as well. A little bit more affordable. They can afford to bring down prices just a little bit more for those seats. Well, there is no seats, but, entry prices might be reduced slightly. But, yeah. In other news, moving on, Erden Timur came out and finally revealed Zaniolo's transfer details. Yasin, you are the guy that works in, counting and the business world. I think you are most qualified to give us a good breakdown of this.
Sure. So he didn't just talk about Zaniolo, by the way, for those who didn't get to listen to it, and if you might have time, I highly suggest that if you understand, Turkish, I know we have a lot of Galatasaray fans that don't understand Turkish. That's totally fine. And I respect those guys even more, that they're able to follow Galatasaray as detailed as they do without understanding the language. But if you do, listen to Erden Timur speak in that interview, because he's, one of my favorite people to come to this club at a high level in recent history. Just the way that he carries himself, the way he talks, and what he says in the value that it carries. He talked about Zaniolo, obviously, but he talked about Galatasaray and our approach to how we react and how we don't react to TFF this season. and especially how we react and don't react to other clubs, our rivals like Fenerbahce this season. Because Dursun Özbek also gave a interview recently where he said, look, Ali Koç and Fenerbahce are saying all this stuff, and they're trying to get us involved and bring us down to their level of, professionalism, which is at a low level. And we're not going to accept that. So a lot of the times we just haven't said what's on our minds to stay professional. But because of all these false rumors recently, because of, journalists claiming incorrect information, that's hindering our face and the way that how we stand as a club, is the reason why Erden Timur, had to come out today and say what I'm saying. So what he did, which was the craziest thing I've seen recently, a club professional do regarding to a transfer fee, is he brought out the official documents and offer letters of Galatasaray to AS Roma for Zaniolo, and he brought Fenerbahce's offer, because in recent news, apparently Galatasaray offered way more money for Zaniolo. And in fact, AS Roma gave Fenerbahce the priority, but because we offered so much more money, that they sold him to us. And this was a rumor, and this hurt Galatasaray club, and it's just false news. And Erden Timur was like, look, I'm coming out because you guys are talking BS. Here's the facts. Here's the signed papers. And what did those papers show? First of all, our initial offer, right, our flat offer, our guaranteed transfer fee, right? You guys, I'm going to break this apart into several different ways. Guaranteed. So no matter what happens to Zaniolo, no matter what his performances are, we owe AS Roma 50 million euros net. And this is spread over 5 years. 15 divided by 5 is 3 million euros a year, right? That's what we owe Roma. It's not all at once, it's over 5 years. That's part one. And then there's a bonus part to it, right?
Yeah, get ready,
and these bonuses are usually pretty interesting. And every club offers their own types of bonuses. And, sometimes when you make a statement of a transfer fee, when you buy someone or sell someone, you tend to include bonuses so it seems higher than it actually is, to appease the fans and the news and all that. And at face value, they said, "Oh, it's a 30 million transfer," and some fans are making fun of Galatasaray for this. Turkish news. How can you spend 30 million on Zaniolo? He has 2 bad knees. He hasn't been in form. He has mental issues. How the hell are you spending 30 million? And Timur said, "We're not spending 30 million. We spent 15. The rest of it is TBD." And what is that TBD? He broke it out. He said the first part is if Galatasaray go to the round of 16 in the Champions League and Zaniolo plays. Okay, so this is a bit tricky. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of components to this I'm trying to read. But there's like a 1 million euro bonus if we go into the round of 16 and Zaniolo plays at least 526. What is
at least half the games, I think.
At least half the games. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. I'm not going to go into the detail of all these, guys, because it is quite a bit, but you can find this online. There's another bonus that if Galatasaray get to the quarter round of the Champions League, they get another 1 million euros. If Galatasaray go to the semifinals, they get another 1.6 million. If this happens twice, they get 3 million. If Galatasaray plays in the Champions League, if Galatasaray wins the Champions League, Roma gets another 1.5 million euros. If Galatasaray goes to the finals of the Europa League, Roma get 1 million euros extra in bonuses. If Galatasaray wins the Europa League, AS Roma get another 1.5 million euros. If Galatasaray win the Turkish Cup and Zaniolo plays in this game, Roma get another 800,000 euros. If Zaniolo plays for Italy, I believe, in at least 50% of their game, bro, it's some whack ass. Okay. I'm gonna get to the last one, which is the funniest one. If Zaniolo wins the Ballon d'Or, so if he is the best player voted by FIFA in that year, AS Roma get another bonus from that. So like, think about what I just said. All these situations are very difficult to reach. And hey, even if some of these are reached, let's say Galatasaray gets the Champions League final. So what if we have to pay Roma another $1 million? Because the bonus,
I hope all these go through.
I hope all these go through, because not only is his value going to skyrocket in that process to make him actually worth that bonus and more, Galatasaray is going to receive so much in additional revenue in that
We'll buy
process.
5 more Zaniolos, bro. What do you mean?
So like, oh, Galatasaray paid 30 million. No, we paid 15 million euros, and we didn't even pay 3 million of it yet because it's for the whole year. It's if all these things actually get accomplished. So what am I trying to say here? And this is what we actually have to think about, right? 15 million is actually what we have to pay. If we try and sell Zaniolo this summer, we can sell him for 20 million and still break even and make profit, because those other bonuses would have never been reached, because we're not in Europe this year, right? We're in Europe next year. So like 90% of those bonuses would never be reached. So his actual fee would be anywhere from 15 to 20 based on some of those Italian or Super Lig Cup bonuses, right? So that's that. If you read anything else in the news, it's BS. You're going to have Fenerbahce fans, Beşiktaş fans say, oh, these are made up by Erden Timur. You know, how does he have this, blah, blah, blah. Erden Timur is a professional. He's not some guy off the street. He knows what he's doing, and he's an honest man. And if he's saying this, I'm going to believe it. I have no reason not to believe it. Mm-hmm. You have no reason not to believe it. So that's that. And one more thing I'm going to say before I'd love to get your commentary on this, guys. He showed Fenerbahce's offer, which was 16 million net, right? Like, you know how we offered 15 guaranteed? Fenerbahce offered 16 million. And with bonuses, it was up to 21. So in total, with bonuses, sure, we offered more, but their bonuses, the 5 million bonus that's not guaranteed, I don't have it in front of me, but they were way easier to achieve than the bonuses that we gave. So, you know, all this news of, you know, we're paying so much more is absolutely false. In fact, Fenerbahce offered more guaranteed money. And then somebody might be like, hey, then why the hell did Roma send him to Galatasaray and not to Fenerbahce? Number one reason is because AS Roma can go to the journalists and press and say, look, Galatasaray offered 30 million. That's the most money that we received, so we sold him for that. That sounds a lot better than saying 21 million that Fenerbahce offered. That's one. Number two, the kid probably and likely wanted to play next to Icardi, Mertens, Torreira, Sergio, the guy who he just won the Conference League with. And, you know, honestly, like, no bias, Galatasaray is the most successful top club in Turkish league history.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it's Galatasaray,
Is
bro.
that no bias?
That's it.
I mean, that's factual.
Also, dude, he had Mancini, the guy, the man, the mensch.
Aynen. But that's that. Like, you know, it was really a final stamp on this discussion. And he called out all the journalists in Turkey. I think he even mentioned the Fenerbahce journalist Yaz Sabancıoğlu. He's like, look, you know, he's saying this. Meanwhile, it's really, yeah. But yeah, I just found it really interesting, and I loved how he spoke. Some other teams are gonna see like a little bit of quotes selected from, you know, certain pages on Twitter and be like, oh, this guy's such a jerk, or he's a this, that. They're gonna call him names. But if you actually listen to what he said and how he said it, I love this guy. He's my second favorite guy at Galatasaray Club since Mustafa Cengiz. Like, that guy was a very honest man. He worked hard. He had Galatasaray's true intentions, best interests at heart at all times. And this guy is the next guy for me, Erden Timur, and I hope, you know, he continues this way. It's sometimes easy to fall into all the drama. He said he made a mistake, and he apologized, saying that Galatasaray will pull themselves out of this league if TFF continues the way that they are. He said this in a post-game interview once, and he apologized for it, and he spoke about it in this interview. He said, look, I tried to be careful. I try to think about what I'm going to say 5 to 6 times before I say it, because when you're angry and you have emotions, you say things you don't mean, and that happened to me. But that is what it is. I'd love to get both your thoughts on that.
I mean, you pretty much just said everything I wanted to say. He is that guy. He did go and do a lot. Well, like he put to bed all these, these Alga operation schemes being pulled by everyone and their mother, because they know it's very hard to take a championship out of our hands once we are full throttle, in the driver's seat. They're going to try every single tactic in their hands, getting people like Lale Orta into, places she doesn't deserve to be, getting people, sold, pencils, pens in media to say things about us that are fake. Dude, they were trying to say Kerem and Sergio Oliveira was fighting. Meanwhile, they were not even in the same vicinity. Kerem was in the national team. Sergio was, in the fucking training. Like, well, you know what I mean? So for me, this is just games that we gotta play. Unfortunately, that Erden Timur seems to be playing pretty well at the given moment. So I don't have much else to say about this. I don't know if Saleh has more to say about it.
For me, it was originally about Zaniolo, right? Mostly about him. What I would have to say, what I like about the deal, even though it may sound crazy about, hey, you get a bonus if you win the Champions League or, reach the finals of the Europa League. But it does tell me that we do have a grand vision at hand. And in order for Roma to convince them that we have these bonuses that actually might be activated, I think that says a lot about what we want to reach in the next few years. I think Erden Timur has also mentioned, right, that he wants to make Galatasaray, what was it again, top 10 club or whatever in the world. He wants to really create something with us. And like Yasmin mentioned before too, I really like Erden Timur. In the beginning, I didn't quite get the hype as much because I just didn't know who. I mean, I did know who he was, but we haven't seen much from him. At least I've
seen a lot. Like he sponsored a lot of our deals.
I know. Okay, so money wise, of course, that way, but more as a direct person that is involved with us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, now that I have seen him, I do have to say that he's not only just talk. He does what he says, and he does it in a professional and good manner. I don't think anyone can, even from a rival club, could really hate on the guy because honestly, he's not. That is him. He's not a bitch. he's a normal. Yeah. He's just a normal, straight up guy who does
he's a self-made man.
Exactly.
Someone with a vision, not someone that has everything handed to him on a silver plate with a silver spoon stuck up in their butt.
Goes on with a megaphone whenever shit hits the fan.
Exactly. Exactly. Like right. All right. With that said, I think I would like to get into the game. This was
let's do it.
Yep. Week 27, if I recall, against Adana Demirspor. We won 2-0. It was a very tough game, but our Viking came to the rescue after a very long time of not being able to play. Misha scores in the 86th minute with a beautiful, beautiful strike towards the bottom right corner of the goal. Nothing the goalie can do about it. And our second goal from a penalty, which Zaniolo scored. Guys, who wants to take us in?
I can get started. Oh, John, I saw. Did you want to do it?
Oh, where's John when you need him, bro?
Exactly. I was just gonna say, let's start with the lineup, and since Yasin wants to start us off, I give the floor to you.
Yeah, just to quickly go through it. Obviously, we played Adana Demirspor at home this week, and a lot of familiar faces on the other team. But let's talk about us first. In goal, we had Muslera, obviously Sacha Bowie at the right. Sam playing left back this time. He made a return at that left back position. We had Nelson returning from his suspension. He was out last game. And Abdulkarim as his partner at left center back. In the middle, we had Lucas Torreira and Sergio. In the attack, we had Rachica on the right wing, Kerem on the left, and Mr. Dries Mertens made his return from injury at number 10, and Icardi at striker. And, this did look like a basically perfect 11. Sam is questionable, definitely a lot more questionable after the game. But everything else looked pretty good. Form is questionable, but the talent definitely was a proper 11 from Okan Hoca. On the other side, no point in really going through all the faces, but we had Ndiaye, ex-Gala player, Onyekuru, ex-Gala player, and Emre Akbaba, who was definitely involved in a controversial position during the game, was also playing against us today. Belhanda probably would have shown face today too, or yesterday too, but he got received a red card the prior week.
Classic.
So he was suspended. Yeah, classic Belhanda. So he was suspended from playing against us, which, my opinion, Belhanda on his day is a very difficult player to play against. So kind of glad about that one. So that was our 11, and I think some of these guys' performances yesterday were definitely questionable, and it's thanks to Okan Hoca and the guys he brought off the bench that we were able to win yesterday. So
a change from last week,
and the change. Yeah. So that's that. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about first before or any
No, let's just get into the game. Let's start with the first half.
Yeah. Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, I didn't think we started off bad. I think we started off well out of the gates compared to what we started playing against Konyaspor. I think we pressed really hard and really well. At times we didn't. I mean, this is Adana Demirspor, okay? They're one of the, if you look at the XGs that they create and how often they play through the midfield, they're one of the teams that are up there. So they're going to get past our pressing no matter what. And they did get past our pressing, but not as often as you think they would. I don't think Adana played their usual game. They were way more defensive than they usually play. They did sit back a little bit more and just waited on the counter, which is, a good strategy. Konya beat us like that last week, so I think they took a little page out of their book and tried to implement it against us. They didn't play completely open and wide. We really struggled to do anything and finish in the final third. That was, I think, one of the biggest issues this game. I want to open up a small note on Kerem. I know people shit on Kerem. He wasn't terrible the first half, but he made so many losses on the ball, man. We gave away so many attacks just from Kerem losing the ball. It's reminding me of that, the Kerem from the first couple of weeks. It's like, what's going on? What's wrong with it, I think, personally, the Milli Takım, the national team, he had to go and play 2 games, and I think he was tired. I don't know what you guys think about that. Him and Icardi were probably the 2 names that were the weakest link in my book. Rashica was good in terms of just general team play. I like the effort that he made going back and forth for the team. This guy, I don't know, man. I like him. I rate him highly. I know some of the guys don't rate him as high as me, but I think we really need to have him on the team, stay on the team, along with Icardi. Well, I don't know if Icardi keeps going like this, if we should keep him on the team. But first half-wise, I think we did okay. We're definitely having an issue creating chances and finishing in the final third. Well, I don't know what you guys think, if you guys agree with me or not, but I don't think we played that bad as often as people say we played bad.
I would be on the other side of the discussion in this case. I'm also ask you, Yasin, in a bit, but I don't think we played that well in the first half. Not necessarily that we really played bad, as in that we were actually bad, but it just didn't click as much.
Yeah,
I felt like, just like previous games, as I mentioned before, this just reminds me of the first few weeks that we played in the Super Lig. And again, look, there's context to that as well. We've played 5 games in 2 months. Of course, there was the tragic earthquake that happened, but also this national break. And yet again, next week we have a bye week, which means we also won't play. So our next game is again in, I think, almost not 2 weeks, but in like 1.5 weeks. So we played sloppy, in my opinion. The thing is, though, I found Adana Demirspor to be sloppy as well. And they played in a very weird way, if I may say. They played in
defensively, to me, that's what it felt like.
They played on the count just like you mentioned before, but at times I felt like they played like a 4-2-4, like the midfield was completely empty. They were either all at the back or they had all of their tags forward, like Akintola, Onyekuru,
Emrah
the
Baba.
other Ndiaye, Aynen, exactly. So it was a hit or miss. We played very directly, but that's something that we're accustomed to with Okan. And yeah, in general, while I wouldn't say we played really bad, but it wasn't up to the quality that I'm expecting from Galatasaray. And on Icardi and Kerem, yes, they played worse, but I think that's also mainly due to the fact that we're actually used to them playing pretty good. And if they, drop out of that form, it may... It looks more obvious that they play bad, but I think they just played kind of in line with the rest of the team, which was just in general average to below average.
I mean, thing is though, let's say we take Kerem out of the equation. What does Icardi have as an excuse? I mean, this isn't the first. He was pretty bad in the Konya game, and I would say the Kasımpaşa game. This isn't his first bad, performance. Not to say he's a bad player, don't get me wrong. People start lynching you, as soon as you say anything bad about one player. No, but like we got to criticize from time to time, because these are things that should be addressed. And Icardi
of course,
playing 3 games like this back to back is kind of concerning, man.
That is true. However, I would say that this game compared to the other 2 games, I felt like he also didn't have that much service. Of course, he wasn't that good when he had the ball, but the question then is, of course, how many times did he actually get the ball? And that was also not that often.
He didn't move as much. I felt like he wasn't in the game, like mentally. That makes sense. Like usually, he's always coming. Like before, you would see him be more like active in every like if he wasn't getting the ball, he would come into the midfield, grab the ball, and move forward and try to make plays for your teammate. But like it just felt like he wasn't like willing to do any of that.
Yeah, he went from a more of a creator to just sort of a poacher in a way.
Yeah, like he's like, I just want the ball. Give me the ball.
But that's just what I made of the first half. It was it didn't look good, but then again, context. We don't play as often. Once we get a few games, to be fair, there are not that many games left. But once we get a few back to back, I think we'll get that chemistry going. That that mesh that we want to see. Like just like Yasin mentioned, beginning too. Mertens just came back from injury. Nelson just came back. I think those are things that are important when going forward. But yeah, turning to you, Yasin, what did you think? Do you agree with with Emre or more with me?
I think both of you had good points. Overall, I was very disappointed with the first half, though. I think the criticism from fans and just not being pleased is warranted. Dries Mertens returning, not being in form, being out because of injury, so he's probably still, even if he's not 100, like he's still probably 80-90% of what he was before in terms of fit wise too, health wise, and he still made a big difference. Even though we lacked in the attack, he still tried his best, and we still were able to put a couple additional passes, better passes that we weren't able to do prior to him joining the last few weeks. Yeah, exactly. So he made a big difference, but the other guys really lacked performances. I think Kerem's passes, Sergio's passes were really off. I mean, some of the passes that they tried to do, I get what they had in mind, but the execution was awful. And not just the passes, but their shots too. Like some of these shots, whether it was Kerem, which is more understandable, he's a center back, right? But I respect him for trying to take shots. Because we've seen him, put a couple rockets towards goal before. So I respect his attempt and the confidence to do it. But I expect way better execution from Sergio and Kerem, given their positions and their history and what they're actually able to do on a more consistent basis otherwise. So their shots were just like, it seemed like they were playing football and they were trying to, hit a field goal, above the net. So those are just terrible.
We gave fans I'm sure the guys 4 or 5 free balls, bro.
I know. I was just about to say the fans behind the goal probably had a little bit more fun time, even though it's disappointing to see those shots not go towards goal. But that and just I want to talk about Cardi too, because I felt like I get where you're coming from, Emre, but I think it's a bit harsh because Mertens still made those runs. We just did a terrible job finding the ball. And I forgot to mention, this is Sachi included, his passes and his crosses were god-awful.
Sasha.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying he didn't get
Terrible.
any. Like I agree with you guys. He didn't get much service this game, but I felt like he wasn't active in trying to create any.
As involved.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like he's seeing that his team can't create shit. He's like just sitting there. I'm just gonna chill. You know, that's the vibe that I got from him.
I mean, yes and no. Spacing is really important, especially when you're a striker, right? Like the guys next to him, they were playing pretty wide, which is good. Kerem and Rashica were playing wide. And Mertens, if you look at his positioning, you know, his heat space of that game, he was absolutely everywhere on the pitch. So, like, you can only come in to help your midfield so much. He's done that in the past, and I appreciate it then. But, like, generally, we were able to go up quite a bit. So it's fine that he's in that last line next to the center backs, not always helping, but he made the runs and we were just not finding him. Like, and with that said, that is why I also think Icardi has not been the same. When you don't find your striker, he's not gonna be able to get involved. He's not gonna have a good touch. When he does get the opportunity, he might not make the best of it because he was so frustrated beforehand. And you know Icardi, we know Icardi, the guy. You know, if he gets frustrated, he gets frustrated. And you saw that. I didn't see negative body language from him where it's like, all right, I give up kind of thing. But you clearly saw he was frustrated when he's in the box and Sacha Boey's coming down the right wing. He has all the space in the world to make a decent cross. And it goes Subway style past everybody's head and more to the other side of the field. Like, what is that, Sacha? And when that happens not once, but 3-4 times in one half for multiple games, Icardi is going to get cold. He's going to not have the same vibes, and it's just going to affect him. And I get it. This is the time when we have to support Icardi the most. These are the times where it's like, okay, Icardi came here with a potentially mental, issue, right? That's what the way they described it when he was at PSG. This is a time when the fans really have to be like, okay, Icardi, you're not your best, but we're still behind you. I think we'll turn around, as Salih said, with, once we start playing more consistently. Because right now it's like we play and we go on break for 2 weeks. We play and we go on break for 2 weeks. Or we were off again for a month plus. Yeah, like we play Başak Wednesday, but that's a cup game. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's still competitive, but it doesn't have that 3-point value that is Super Lig. It doesn't have that championship feel to it. Mm-hmm. And we beat them 7-0 before. This could be a good thing or a bad thing for us too. But we haven't been able to get a feel for things, and the team as a whole has proper excuses. But I think Icardi is even more than that. Like if you put the most informed striker in the world in this team that played yesterday, he would still not be able to do much because he wasn't fed.
I don't know. Physically, he looked weak as well. Like he couldn't win anything properly. Like he's coming shoulder to shoulder with the defender. Like there was this one pass, I think it was Mertens that gave to Morquera. Bro, like
in the box,
yes,
right?
And like you just fall over. Just come on, like stay on your feet. That's all I'm asking, bro. Hold that ball until the rest of your team comes. No, he's just losing. That's what I'm saying. Like he just doesn't seem like he's in it mentally right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's tough to see, and
he needs another breakup.
that's a comment going around. He's with
Wanda
he's
Nara
with the wifey again, and now he's too comfortable.
Yanga, please.
I don't know what it. Do something fucked up again.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, bro.
Yeah.
Then I want to hit on something else. If
go ahead. That's
and that is, the Emre Akbaba one, right? At minute, I think 38. He stomped on the ankle. I think it was of Mertens, right? Yeah,
yes.
I think it was of Mertens, but he got away with a yellow. And now the question is that what he should have gotten? Is that the card that was deserved? Because in my opinion, and I tried to look at some more angles, but that should have been a red, no? Like, he stepped on pretty high up on the ankle of Mertens. And yet again, also in this game, VAR, I mean, where are they? The ref again wasn't called up to watch it or whatever. He gave a yellow, and well,
I'm convinced that there's no one in VAR. In that room, it's empty. And the ref just pretends to listen to something that's not there. I swear to God. Because not only this game, last game and the game before, starting from the Custom Pusher game. Where is VAR? Where are these red cards that are supposed to be given out? Bro, these guys are literally going and trying to injure our players, man. Donc, Zaniolo, Ametos, Dubois, now it's Mertens. Like, these are our freaking important players, you understand? Bro, come on. For, like, crying out loud. And then there was another position, but go ahead. I'll keep that in mind.
No, you go first.
Like, this is like pertaining to the second half. There was a challenge by Adekugbe, bro, which in my opinion could have been a red card, but they can't go to VAR and give that. They can't. Never can they go, because they know that they didn't go to VAR for us. They have to do Ayam Jaluk to make it seem like
classic Super Lig.
Classic Super League, bro. Classic.
Trying to balance it out.
Bro, if we lost points this game, all hell would break loose, because look, playing with 10 men, especially in our house, is not easy. It's not easy anywhere, playing 10 men and getting a point.
Except at Kadıköy, but yeah.
Yeah. Everyone gets out with a point there, it seems. But yeah, dude, like, come on, where is it? And then, Erden Timur came out and made, I think it's a good time to go and talk about this, but he made like a statement and like cut it short. He's saying that there's like a red card, yasa, like the other team never gets a red card. There's like a phobia, right? And then it's like it's not allowed for them to get a red card against us. And he's saying that, they don't want the point difference to be extended from like 3 and 6, which it seems like it's legit. Like, from what we see, it seems like it, bro. And one of the other things he said, which, I don't really know if I like this, but he said at the end of the league, no matter what the circumstances, we have, papers or evidence that we're going to announce everything. We're going to put it all on the table. I don't know what he meant by that exactly. It sounded like what Abdurrahim Albayrak said back in the day, if you guys remember that. He's like, I have stuff, I know things, I'm going to reveal all of it. He revealed nothing.
Yeah, I hate that personally,
but the comment, I do like the comment though. Even though he may not really mean it and may not be, let's say, as professional as in, getting a red card against Galatasaray is just forbidden or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
It does create a war mentality, like us against the rest, right? And it can get the players more hyped up because, well, they can, of course, also see the injustice happening left and right. And this, again, look, even though Akbaba may have not meant it, because afterwards he did look a bit like, oh shit, I actually, on accident, I did like step on him, but it should have been red card. Like,
bro, Ahmed Oz came out after the Konya game. He's like, oh, geez, that is probably a red card. This man admitted himself. And yet you guys are still pulling the same shit.
Wait, did he? I thought he didn't admit to it.
I heard that he did from multiple people.
If he did, Adam, yeah. But yeah.
It's easy to admit those kind of things when you win, you know what I mean? So. But either the case, man, you're right, Sai. It should have been a red. Easy. No questions asked. Like, even like your worst enemy would be like, yeah, bro, that's a red. No question about it. You put Ali Koch in VAR.
That did happen.
He'll probably say, I agree with you. What are you going to say?
No, that did happen. As in, I was watching the game with some friends. We were preparing like iftar together, and one of my friends is Fenerli in this case. And he also, when he saw that challenge happen, he was like, that's like a straight red. That should be a red. And I jokingly said, yeah, but there's no VAR with us, so you'll see. He's like, there's like no way. They're going to check this. And then, well, just like we saw it, they didn't even check it at all. It just stayed at a yellow, and then there he stood, witnessing it happening to us live with me. And well, me showing the face like, hey, I told you so. Like, bro, we're always being fucking negatively.
We're being screwed left and right.
Yeah, we're being screwed. Aynen.
We should start an OnlyFans. Anyway, moving on. Second quarter or second half. I don't know. I think we pulled it around a little bit. Okan Hoca made some changes. I think we were a little late. I think Kerem should have came out a little earlier. But yeah, once we made those changes, we kind of pulled together. Right, Yasin, what do you think? Do you think Okan Hoca made the right changes? I know last week or last game we were saying that he made the wrong choices. What do you think about his choices now? You think he learned from his mistakes?
I think they were all really good changes actually. I think Zaniolo could have come on a little bit earlier, but it wasn't terribly late. He still played over 35 minutes. The Yunus for Kerem made sense. 75th minute alongside Mitchell and Oliveira. Obviously, Sergio wasn't on his game. We saw that. We already talked about it for the first half. So, and obviously, it's easier to say in hindsight, but he scored the goal. So obviously, it was a very good decision. And he brought good energy. Mitchell had some controversy. Differentiating opinions recently because, we thought he was going to come and be like, the jack of all trades, be able to get in the midfield at any time and put in a stellar performance and be Bergkamp but better. And you can still argue he is Bergkamp and better. But, he had a couple bad games, not so great games. He got injured. This was a guy who apparently never gets injured. And he happened to get injured with us. So that was very unfortunate. And that kind of hindered some people's opinions about him. And yesterday, he showed that, okay, I can come on the pitch and make a positive impact. He was involved. He had nice 1-2 touches, passes with people. And he really brought much needed energy to the game that Sergio didn't have. And Okan, I don't think he was lucky with that. I think he really read that situation well. And, cherry on top, the goal came with it too. And so happy for Micho finding that goal. Kazimcan came off for Sam in the 84th minute. I think that could have happened a little bit earlier. I wasn't really happy with Sam's performance, and he had that borderline red card position in the 59th minute. I think that's when Okan should have seen the position and be like, okay, maybe I need to take this guy off because that challenge was super late. Probably should have been a red card. And when you see that as a coach, I personally like it for you to make a change. Especially even before the yellow card, he wasn't playing that great. He's just not it. He's not bad per se. Maybe he is bad, but he's not terrible. But he's nowhere near good either.
I don't think he's on Galatasaray's level, and it's not really his fault.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We didn't sign him on a long-term deal. He didn't join us when he signed his long-term contract. He joined a mid-table team, Hatayspor. Given the circumstances, we gave him an opportunity, and it kind of worked out because we needed a left back, and it worked out even more because he doesn't count as a Yabancı player. But the alternative now is Kazimcan. He's 19, 20 years old, and he has been pretty decent. He's not great either, but I don't think he's been to the point where you can be like, why is this kid playing? If he does not play very well, you can be like, oh, he's 19, 20, he just joined, he's learning, he'll be better. You can't say that about Sam at all. So I don't see the point. He disrupts our attack. His positioning is not so great. I'd really rather see Okan make that sub earlier and going forward, play with Kazimcan. Unless, of course, Kazimcan is hurt or not fit, in which we might not know that. Yeah. So that is a possibility. Yeah.
And on that's something that I still don't quite get when the lineup comes out. When I see Sam start, does anyone have maybe an idea on why he's actually starting over Kazimcan? Look, Kazimcan, of course, was benched. I
don't think he's ready, bro.
Back in a few weeks. But he was injured, right? So, okay, but now he's back. But first of all, Kazimcan is on a longer term deal. He's more of a future. And I thought personally that Sam just came here basically because, well, first of all, he doesn't count as a foreigner. But second of all, more as a backup. But now that I see him start, and we all realize that he's not that good. then I wonder like why does he actually start? I would rather see the other way around. I would rather see Kazımcan start, and if we're ahead in a game like this, for example, then yeah, maybe Sam can come in and just close down the game, and see the game out. But well, what's your guys' take on that?
I mean,
like, why?
Look, I like the coming in afterwards because there's less pressure on you. You haven't been playing for a long time, and then once, let's say he does come on and he makes a mistake and we concede. What's gonna happen? Okan is gonna get the hate. Oh, why are you playing a guy that's fresh out of injury, out of form? Yada yada yada. That's what he's gonna get if he doesn't perform. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. What happened when Kazımcan came on? The game just completely turned around. Okay, we started pressing more. We started attacking more. Kazımcan's defending was good. That gives Kazımcan some peace of mind, some like fresh mentality. Some özgüven. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be better later on in each game. Each game he's gonna start earlier and earlier until taking that form, and then the jersey from Adekugbe, which will not be very hard, but he can take it. I like that approach better than just throwing him on the pitch, not knowing if he's ready or not, as long as we don't 100% need him like we needed Mertens, because Mertens literally has no backup. Like people say Zaniolo, I don't know. I don't really see Zaniolo as a number 10. I'd rather see him as a makeshift striker at best, and I would rather see Rashica play at number 10. But Mertens said he was ready, that he can play, and to be honest, he didn't play bad, so I can't really say anything. Mertens is Mertens, bro. He's class, man. I'm glad we got him instead of João Pedro. He wasn't bad.
Then would you then say that Kazımcan right now is just being integrated, but eventually...
Exactly,
again,
yes.
Not that we have
bro, that is the plan,
left,
bro. That is the plan. I'm telling you, in Okan mind, Sam is just like a makeshift replacement for the time being. A pawn in his long vision. Like Kazımcan is that guy. He was
the reason why I asked this, and it's good that you mentioned, of course he's a very young guy, but early in the season he did start games. It's not like he never started games for us. It's just he started a few and then unfortunately got injured. And of course, integration does take time.
But remember, when he started, he wasn't starting. He didn't start playing in the beginning of the season. He came in afterwards, and then he took that jersey, and then he started playing and performing really well. And I think Okan is just trying to replicate that whole process, which I think he's doing well, right? Because I'm trusting the man who's coming and taking games, with his substitutions. Sometimes they may not work out, but look, in this game, all three players that he put in, made a direct difference. Zaniolo, Yunus, Fredrik Mitchell. These three players, bro, are like an integral piece of the pie. Mitchell came in, bro. We couldn't open up Adana because they were just completely packed. They defended really well this whole game. I gotta give it some. They defended really well. They usually concede a lot, but they didn't really come to play open. They're like, all right, we're gonna keep Galatasaray out, and we're gonna keep it that way. And then see, this is where you have players that can make a difference. This is why we have some of the best players in the team, a good bench. Fredrik Mitchell comes and steals the show. This guy hasn't scored in like 2 years, and he scores a goal like this. Insane. Then you have Yunus who comes in and with his, prowess in dribbling, he gets a penalty. And who converts that penalty? Zaniolo. So props to the Hoja. We might have
also props to I think Gomes. I feel like Gomes was initially going to take it, and then that's at least what my idea was.
Bro. I love Gomes, bro. Gomes is the man, bro. I love Gomes. I don't care how old he is, bro, but even at this age, he's still keeping it down, bro.
A good character to have. Yeah, that's for sure.
And I love the guy. But
anything else to add on the game? Second half or just in general? Because the subs were good, just like mentioned before. They were on time and they made an impact. I mean, they won us the game. Should say that.
All of them. I mean, Yunus came on as a sub. He earned the penalty, and Zaniolo scored, who also came on as a sub.
We're forgetting one guy.
And, who?
How can we forget our Viking Nelson, bro? Nelson, the man of the match for me, personally.
Really?
Yeah. for me. I know Misha scored that, but dude, if Nelson didn't save that goal from that line, I think that would have been a completely different game. He was rated the highest player too on well, at least on FOTMob for me. I don't know about SofaScore.
So SofaScore, same thing.
Okay,
same
there you
thing.
go, bro. There you
I
go.
mean, there's something to it though, because up to that point, it didn't. Even though we did have the ball for the majority of the time, we just didn't look good, right? And if that
We
goal
couldn't
did
create
go
anything.
in,
I know, exactly.
exactly, it could have been like that's that, right? A 1-0 defeat.
Like we
at
were
home.
saying, we were
Could
like,
have ended that way.
we were defending pretty well as well. Like they didn't come to our, our goal too often. When they did, it didn't come, like there was nothing out of it. Like apart from Onyekuru's, shot on goal, which came off the bar. Thank God.
Akbaba too, by the way.
Well, Akbaba, it came out from the outside of the bar. I don't think that was ever going to go in.
True.
But yeah, let's just say that one too. They didn't really come. Just that one position, bro. And like Muslera was pretty much screwed up there. I don't know. But Nelson, man, just in general in that whole game, like he won almost every air ball. He held it down for the team, man. I love Nelson, man. It's such a shame that we're probably not going to be able to keep him next season. But yeah, apart from him, I think we pretty much talked about everyone. Abdülkerim was pretty good. Bowie, we said, wasn't on his game. Well, attack-wise, he wasn't on his game. But yeah.
Mhm.
All
right. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, one thing I may want to add is, as we have a few harder games coming up, as in not too long, we have games like, for example, against Beşiktaş, Başakşehir again, Fatih Karagümrük. I did notice that we actually have quite some key players who are a card away from suspension. I mean, this game too. I think Bowie got a card as well. Got booked again. Oliveira. So we have 5 players actually who are 1 card away from suspension, and those are Oliveira, Bowie, Icardi, Kerem, and Barış. But Barış is a bench player. And yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, bud.
We can, and I hope we can like somehow tactically get them booked in one of these less important games, so they don't.
That's gonna be tough, man. All of our games are rough.
And these are all like very key players, in my opinion too. I hope they don't miss like a big derby game or whatever. But yeah, I just want to mention that quickly. Besides that, I don't have much else to add about the game. Just glad we got a 2-0 win again.
Yeah, hopefully we continue this and make it a new win streak. 1 down. Well, technically 8 more to go, if we don't count the Hatay game. But with that said, Kayserispor, lads, is our next league game. Not our cup game, but league game. And Başakşehir is coming up in a couple of days. Boys, what do we think about that before we get into the Kayseri game? What do you guys have as, in terms of expectations?
I want to hear Yasin start on this one.
Well, Başakşehir at home. That's Wednesday this week, so you guys don't forget about it. Definitely going to be a tough game. It's at home, which is nice. And it's another opportunity to kind of prove to ourselves that, we are very good, even though we've had some bad performances recently. This is a game where a team that we've beat very badly before, and hopefully we can do it again. I'm not expecting another crazy score like that, but a win's going to be huge at home, even though it's a cup game, and we have the weekend off. So I really want the guys to show up Wednesday and do their best and go into the next game in 2 weeks a little bit more confident, because even though we did win yesterday, I'm not sure the players felt amazing after it.
Scrappy win.
In terms of like, we played really well, we dominated them, we had a million chances. Because if I'm a player, I might be like, okay, we won that, but like, am I really confident about it going into the next game? Not necessarily. And I want Başakşehir this week to be that game, because then we got Kayseri, and then I think we can really start to hopefully get in our groove. Even though we have a week, a game off this next weekend, I think we can really start a proper groove with this last game and Wednesday. I expect to win, of course, and I think it's really important to stay in the cup going forward, because not only is it another trophy, and that's what Galatasaray does, they win trophies, but it's going to be important to have those games to continue our momentum. We talked about it for many weeks now. We're not playing as good as we were before because we don't have momentum. So having these cup games is how we build momentum. Yes, it's going to tire our players a little bit more, but it's going to keep everybody honest. It's going to keep everybody on their toes. It's going to give opportunities to some of our bench players to get used to playing with our A-team players. You guys just mentioned we have all these players that are on borderline suspension. So a cup game is going to be a good opportunity to give more minutes to Micho, to Kaan Ayhan, to Sam, to Zaniolo, and guys like this that when they do start, that they're not lost, right? So that's, I hope we win it. I think we will win it.
Yeah.
And am I giving predictions for the Kayseri game too? While we're at it?
I'm not going to talk and give predictions for either game because that's not what I do. But Saad, I don't know do you think the Hoja would make a huge amount of rotations for the Başak game, knowing that they're not going to play a league game following?
Exactly, you just explained it for me, basically. Normally I would expect rotation, but in this cases we don't play until, I think, the 14th anyway. I expect us to go pretty much as strong as possible. Maybe, of course, we'll have 1 or 2 rotations, but not like a half of the team.
Might not see the Sergio Oliveira or something. Well, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Micho.
I don't expect too much rotation. And even if we rotate, I don't think our bench options are bad necessarily. It's not like in the past. I think our bench options are capable enough to still get a win here. And yeah, the cool part here is if we do win this game, and assuming our neighbors do too on the Asian side, we'll be facing each other again for the semifinal.
No, we don't.
On the other side,
are you sure it's them? I thought we faced Trabzon and they faced Sivas.
Okay, I thought we were gonna. I at least thought we were gonna face Fenerbahce next, and on the Trabzon side or the other one, there's also still Antep in this. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I assume then that Sivas go through automatically with that.
Yeah, exactly. They just automatic win.
Yeah, I expect us just to go as strong as possible or as close as, and just like Galsin said, just to get some rhythm and.
All right.
Why not? Because after that, they have quite some rest for the Kayseri game.
What's your predictions for the Kayseri? Let's grab those real quick.
Yeah, Kayseri is an interesting one because I believe they recently played Trabzon, right? And they won 3-4.
Well, 4-3. Yeah, they won.
4-3. Yeah, a crazy score. If I recall correctly, the last time we played them, we lost.
We got annihilated. Not just lost.
Yeah. Which is beginning of the season, or well, more in the beginning. But at home, I just expect a win. I do rate Kayseri for how they play. Therefore, I think the win will be 2-1. A rather close one, but I do think we'll win.
What is it? Çağdaş Atan doing wonders there. He's one of the managers along with Montea that I really like having in the league. They're really giving this league a better performance and allowing people to, it's bearable to watch. So Yasin, what about you? What do you think of the Kayseri game? Give us your predictions.
I think we'll win it. I don't really have too much worry there. We're still a better team and we're playing at home. Will it be challenging? I'll have a better answer after I see the Başakşehir game, to be honest, because again, yesterday didn't give me too much confidence. If you want a score prediction, I'll say something like 3-1.
3-1, okay.
Yeah, I do expect us to win. They're not near relegation. So
what do you mean near? They're like 7th, I think. They're like
exactly. I'm saying they're not near relegation. Okay. So they're not going to be fighting for their lives. I'm sure they're going to really try hard. Çağdaş will get the best out of them. But will they play their life is on the line like some of these other teams have recently? I'm not sure. they're actually kind of borderline potentially getting a spot in Europe, depending on how Başakşehir and Trabzon do for the rest of the season. But still, I think we'll take it. We're just a better team. And sooner or later, I believe this team will really turn things around for what it was like before. So we'll see.
Hopefully.
I expect to win.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, I think that's it for the podcast. We'd like to thank everyone that stood with us till now. Again, you guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in for our 50th episode. It's been a blast having you guys here, guys. It's been a blast doing this with you guys. And for everyone that has listened, thank you again. So with that said, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions for us, you can reach us at The Lions Den GS on Twitter, Instagram. And if you want to join our community, we're on Discord. You can hit us up for an invite. Till our next one, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and peace out.
Bye.
See you guys.